There's something happening right now in every single interaction you have with a woman. She's not doing it on purpose. She can't stop it even if she wanted to. And most men walk right past it completely blind, never realizing they just triggered one of the most powerful psychological responses in the female brain. I'm going to show you exactly what it is, what it means, and the critical body language mistakes that shut it off instantly before it even has a chance to begin. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share is going to completely change how you see every interaction you've ever had with a woman. Every conversation. Every moment you thought went well. Every moment you couldn't understand why it didn't. This is the piece that was always missing. I'm Dr. Daniel Hart. I've spent over a decade studying nonverbal communication, male-female dynamics, and the deep psychological patterns that drive human attraction. I've worked with thousands of men, successful men, intelligent men, men who do everything right on paper, and almost every single one of them was making the same invisible mistakes with their body. Mistakes that were quietly destroying attraction before a single word was ever spoken. My job is simple. I tell you what's actually happening inside a woman's mind, the things she feels but can never quite explain, even to herself. No filters. No sugarcoating. Just the truth, delivered straight. And before we go any further, if you've never noticed any of this before, I need you to hear something important. It is not your fault. You were never taught this. Nobody sat you down and explained how deeply a woman's nervous system reads your physical presence. Society handed you scripts about what to say, what to wear, how to be funny, how to be interesting. But they skipped the fundamental layer. The layer underneath all of it. The layer that determines everything before you open your mouth. Today, that changes. Here is the principle you need to burn into your mind before anything else makes sense. The female brain is a social mirror. It is wired biologically, neurologically, at a level far deeper than conscious thought to sync with the people around it. Scientists call it limbic resonance. Neurologists call it the mirror neuron system. But what it actually is, in plain language, is this. Her body is constantly, automatically, unconsciously asking one question about every man in her presence. Is this man worth syncing with? And it answers that question not through words, not through logic, not through your job title or your car or your carefully crafted jokes. It answers through your body, your posture, your stillness, your breath, your gaze, the way you occupy space. When a woman starts to mirror your movements, crossing her legs the way you cross yours, leaning forward when you lean forward, slowing her speech when yours slows down, her subconscious has already made a decision about you. Not consciously. Not rationally. Her primitive brain made it. The part of the brain that existed long before language, long before reason, long before she had any say in the matter. And that decision is simple. This man is worth paying attention to. But here is where most men destroy it completely. Without ever knowing they did it, there are 5 body language mistakes I see men make constantly. 5 patterns that don't just reduce attraction, they actively trigger alarm responses in the female nervous system. And I want to walk you through every single one of them, because understanding what you're doing wrong is just as powerful as knowing what to do right. The first mistake is what I call collapsed posture. You've done this. Every man has. Shoulders rounded forward, chest caved in, head slightly dropped, weight shifting backward like you're trying to take up less space than you're entitled to. Sometimes you're leaning on something, a wall, a counter, a doorframe. You think you look relaxed. Effortless. Cool. Her nervous system reads something completely different. Collapsed posture is one of the oldest biological signals in existence. In virtually every species that walks upright, a contracted, closed body posture signals submission, vulnerability, low status. And the female brain, operating from millions of years of wiring, does not distinguish between a man consciously trying to look casual and a man whose energy has genuinely collapsed. It reads the body. Full stop. Her mirroring reflex doesn't just slow down when she registers this. It stops. Because the brain does not mirror what it does not respect. Not out of judgment. Not out of cruelty. It's simply neurological. The system is looking for a signal worth sinking to, and collapsed posture doesn't send one. She won't consciously think his posture is bad. She will simply feel that something is off. Something she can't name. Something she can't explain to her friends later when they ask why she wasn't more interested. She'll say he was nice. She'll say there was just no spark. The spark was never about chemistry. It was about your spine. The second mistake is the restless body. Fidgeting. Shifting your weight back and forth. Touching your face repeatedly. Checking your phone mid-conversation. Bouncing your leg under the table. Adjusting your clothes, your hair, your sleeves, your watch over and over in a loop that never quite stops. Every single one of these micro-movements is broadcasting a signal into her nervous system. And that signal is this. This man is not at peace with himself. Here is the part that most people don't know. Her body picks this up before her eyes stuck. The peripheral nervous system processes involuntary movement signals faster than conscious visual attention. By the time she has consciously registered that you keep touching your face, her nervous system has already been responding to it for minutes. She's already uncomfortable. She already feels a low-grade tension in your presence that she cannot source. And the mind, searching for an explanation for that discomfort, lands on the simplest available answer. I don't feel good around him. That is the conclusion restlessness writes. Not that you're nervous. Not that you had too much coffee. Just that something about being near you creates unease. And once that association is made, it is extraordinarily difficult to undo. The third mistake is one almost nobody talks about, and it might be the most destructive of all. I call it positional dishonesty. This is when your body is pointed in one direction but your attention is somewhere else. You're standing facing her, but your feet are angled toward the exit. You're nodding, but your eyes keep drifting over her shoulder. You're present in form but absent in energy. You're there, but you're not really there. Women feel this immediately. Not because they're overly sensitive. Because they are extraordinarily well calibrated to detect genuine versus performed interest. Evolutionary psychology tells us why. For thousands of years, accurately reading male intention was a survival skill for women. That skill didn't disappear. It went underground, into the nervous system, where it operates constantly and automatically. When your body says one thing and your energy says another, she doesn't consciously identify the contradiction. She just feels the discomfort of ET. She feels like she's being managed rather than met. Like you're performing presence rather than offering ET, and the moment she feels managed, the mirror shuts down completely. The fourth mistake is broken eye contact. Not too little. Not too much. Broken. Dotting. Eyes that find hers and then immediately flee. Glancing around the room while she's speaking. Looking down at the table, at your drink, at your hands, at anything that is not her face. This one is devastating specifically because eye contact is where mirroring lives. It's the primary channel through which two nervous systems begin to synchronize. When your gaze is steady and calm, not intense, not aggressive, not a staring contest, just present and real, her mirror neurons activate. She begins to feel what you feel. If you are calm, she becomes calm. If you are grounded, she registers groundedness. The emotional state travels through the eyes before any word carries ET. Broken eye contact reverses this entirely. Her nervous system interprets evasive eyes as concealment. And concealment triggers one of the oldest threat detection questions in the female brain. What is he hiding? Why won't he stay present? Does he actually want to be here? The mirroring collapses. The connection fractures. And no amount of good conversation, no amount of humor or intelligence or shared interests fully repairs what broken eye contact already damaged. Because the damage didn't happen at the level of thought. It happened at the level of the nervous system. And that level is not reached by words. The fifth mistake is what I call energy leakage. This is the subtlest one, and in many ways the most telling. Energy leakage is when small, unconscious physical behaviors reveal inner states you're trying to conceal. The jaw that tightens slightly when she mentions another man. The barely perceptible help breath when she walks into the room. The hands that grip your glass just a little too tightly. The smile that arrives a half-second too fast, too white, too eager. None of these things are visible as individual signals. But together they create what I call an energy signature. And her nervous system reads that signature the way you read a room when you walk into it and just know something is wrong, even though everything looks normal. Energy leakage communicates one thing above all else. This man is working to maintain an image rather than simply being himself. And the body, no matter how disciplined, cannot fully sustain a performance. It leaks. It always leaks. And she feels every single drop of it, even when she couldn't describe what she felt if you asked her. Now I want to tell you what actually works. What the body language of a genuinely attractive man looks like, not performed, not manufactured, but real. Because this is not about tricks. This is not about copying a posture you saw in a video. This is about understanding what your body is already capable of communicating when you stop interfering with ET. The foundation is groundedness. Feet planted. Weight distributed evenly. Both feet fully on the floor. Not crossed at the ankles, not bouncing, not shifting, just planted, like you grew there. This is not a power pose. This is not a technique. This is the physical expression of a man who is exactly where he intends to be and in no hurry to be anywhere else. From that foundation, everything else builds naturally. The spine lengthens. Not because you're forcing it, but because a planted, stable base allows the body above it to decompress. The chest opens. The shoulders settle back and down, not because you pulled them there, but because the tension that was collapsing them forward has nowhere to live in a body that is genuinely at rest. Your movements slow down. This is one of the most powerful signals a man's body can send, and almost no one talks about ET. Slow, deliberate movement is universally associated with status, safety, and self-possession across virtually every culture on Earth. It is not slowness for its own sake. It is the natural pace of a man who is not reacting. Who is choosing? Who has enough internal space to let moments breathe before he responds to them? Her nervous system receives this like a transmission. When your movements are slow and deliberate, hers begin to slow too. When you stop filling silence with nervous energy, she stops feeling the need to fill it with words. The space between you becomes comfortable rather than charged. And in that comfort, something opens. And breathe. This sounds almost too simple to matter. It is not. Breathing visibly, slowly, and deeply during a social interaction is one of the rarest and most powerful physical signals a man can offer. Most men hold their breath in moments of social pressure without ever noticing they're doing ET. The body interprets help breath as threat response. Fight or flight. Danger nearby. A man who breathes slowly in a situation that would make most men tense is communicating something ancient and unmistakable. I am not threatened by this. I am here. I am enough. This moment does not require me to brace against ET. Her nervous system hears all of ET, receives all of ET, and responds to all of ET. Holds eye contact with the quality of genuine interest. Not performance. Not strategy. Just the real experience of finding another person worth looking at. Let your eyes be soft, not hard. Present, not drilling. The kind of gaze that says I see you, not I am watching you. When all of these elements come together, the planted feet, The open chest, the slow movement, the full breath, the steady and genuine gaze. Something happens that no one can fully script or manufacture. She begins to mirror you. Unconsciously. Automatically. Inevitably. She leans when you lean. She slows when you slow. She breathes when you breathe. And in doing so, her own nervous system begins to generate feelings she cannot trace back to any specific cause. She just knows she feels different around you. Calmer. More alive. More present than she usually is. She will think about this later and not fully understand why. She will feel drawn to you in a way she cannot explain to herself or anyone else. She will call it chemistry. She will call it a connection. She will call it something rare. It is not magic. It is not mystery. It is your body, finally saying what it was always capable of saying to a nervous system that was always listening. Most men will never know this. They will spend years trying to say the right things, where the right things be in the right places, and wonder why the connection they're looking for keeps slipping through their hands. You now know something different. Something deeper. Something that operates at a level most people never reach. And knowledge like this doesn't just change how you interact with women. It changes how you carry yourself in every room you walk into. Every conversation you have. Every moment where presence is the difference between being remembered and being forgotten. That is where real attraction lies. Not in the words. In the body that delivers them. Subscribe. Hit the bell. Because next week I'm going to show you the one facial micro-expression that women find unconsciously irresistible and the reason almost every man does the exact opposite of it without ever realizing. That one is going to hit even harder than this one. I'll see you there.